Happy Saturday! Yeah, look at this big crowd for Saturday afternoon. Give it up for yourselves, film lovers. My name is Allison Morgan. I'm the festival producer here at the 14th Annual Montclair Film Festival. Yeah! We've got 2 days left, which makes this our penultimate day, or as they say in the film biz, the martini shot day. I just wanted to work martini into my speech. I am so pleased to introduce today's panel, Lights, Camera, Everyone in Action, presented in partnership with NJEDA and the New Jersey Motion Picture and Television Commission. We're gonna have a really robust discussion. But first, I wanna thank so many sponsors who make this festival possible. Our exclusive audio sponsor, Audible. If you haven't checked out our Audible Lounge in the corner, do that after the panel. Our executive sponsor, the New Jersey State Council on the Arts. Our signature sponsors, the Ankler, Arnold and Porter, Craig Newmark Philanthropies, the beautiful Montclair Mezzanine, the NJEDA, and the New Jersey Motion Picture and Television Commission. Our presenting sponsors, American Express, CoreWeave, Discover Jersey Arts, Experience Montclair, Hackensack Meridian Mountainside Medical Center, Hiker, Montclair Center Bid, NJPBS, New Jersey Division of Travel and Tourism, Porta, and United Airlines. Thanks, sponsors. Montclair Film is a nonprofit organization that relies on support from all of our sponsors, advertisers, and donors. Please take a moment to review the festival guide if you haven't already. There's some scattered throughout the room. And visit our partner organizations who give so much back to the community. A great way to do that is grab one of those little yellow buttons and check out all the discounts that you can get through the rest of the weekend. We also want to thank our members. If you aren't already signed up, consider joining us. In addition to discounts and early access during the festival, membership benefits are available at the Claridge, the Bellevue, as well as with our Montclair film education programs. And lastly, it takes a real army behind the scenes to make this festival work. So please join me in thanking our volunteers, our staff, and our audiences who come out to all of our programs. Thanks so much, everybody. All right, we've got a really great panel for you today. Before we dive in and introduce our panelists, we do have a special guest here with us. So I'd like to welcome to the stage our Assemblywoman Alexan Collazos-Gill to say a few words.
Thank you. So good afternoon, everybody. And thank you for being here today. So I am, wait, the slides are all that. So yeah, Montclair Film Festival does a lot. So first of all, thank you. So again, thank you to the Montclair Film Festival for all the work that you do throughout the year. But as we know, this Montclair Film Festival and the organization does more than just films. They do incredible work throughout the year. And this is about educational programming, professional development. And probably one of the most important things also is strengthening the local economies. So this is one of the reasons why I'm really excited about the panel today, because when the EDA decided to invest in the arts, they're doing a lot more than that. They have recognized that the arts is also a part of the local economy, and it thrives. The economy thrives with the cultures, and they have invested a lot on this. So I'm really particularly happy with the conversation that is going to happen today, because as we talk about this, I mean, again, not only the investment that is happening at the Montclair Film Festival, but also throughout the state. So I'm really excited about this conversation because we're going to learn more about this collaboration between the arts, the EDA, the government, and how government impacts everything that we do. So first of all, I'm just really thankful to be here. Thank you for coming to Montclair, for those of you who are coming out of state and out of the city, and continue to enjoy the programming. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Assemblywoman. You know, as a filmmaker myself, this has been one of my favorite panels to work on because I think there's a lot of great information that we're gonna get up here on stage from all of our knowledgeable panelists. So now I'd like to bring our panelists for today to the stage. Please welcome up Richard Stephen Bell, Carol Cuddy, Jen Becker, Tom Bernard, Acting Governor Tahesha Way, and our moderator, Artistic Director of Montclair Film Festival, Tom Hall.
Have a seat, everybody. Welcome, welcome. And thank you all so much for coming today to this wonderful crowd here. We're really grateful to see you. I'm Tom Hall. I'm the artistic director at Montclair Film and the Montclair Film Festival. And before we get started, I thought we'd just move down. That was a really quick introduction. Maybe we can move down the line and everyone can tell us your name and your role and a little bit about your background and why we're here today.
Hey, thanks so much. It's good to be with everyone in Montclair. I am Tahesha Way. Today I'm your acting governor, but I serve as the lieutenant governor of the great state of New Jersey. I am here because, I'm a lover of film, television, any aspect, right, which can lift up and empower our state. I serve as the co-chair alongside Commissioner Cuddy for the Workforce and Development subcommittee, and it's great to be here.
That's great. My name's Tom Bernard. I'm co-president of Sony Pictures Classics. We're a company, I guess, has been around for about 34 years. We do quality films from around the world. We try and win Oscars with our films. I think we got, like maybe 100 Oscars and 200 nominations. We are filmmaker oriented. I live in the state of New Jersey, was born in New Jersey, and got involved with the Film Commission when the last Republican governor was around, and there wasn't a film commission, and continued to try and get the state to put one together. And when Governor Murphy came, he said, we're putting it on the agenda, and they did it. And so I've been involved with that here in the state, trying to shape and get movies and get the state's name around the world. And right now, I think we're probably the best place in the country to come make a movie. And so it's a unique program. Since we were one of the last people that put it together, we took the best of everything and got rid of the bad. So, I was talking with Peter Farrelly yesterday. He won the Oscar for Green Book. He was shooting at a motel in Homedale, New Jersey. The Homedale, it was a weird motel. Anyway, he just said it is so great to be here. It's the people around me here don't bother us. Everybody's really respectful. The Film Commission comes by and to visit us. I mean, he was just thrilled at being able to make a movie here rather than in other places. But anyway, that's me.
Good afternoon. I'm Jen Becker. I'm an executive vice president at the New Jersey Economic Development Authority. Part of my role there is to oversee all of our workforce development programs that we have put in place for our targeted industries. That includes, of course, film and digital media. So really excited to be here today. Thank you to Montclair Film for putting this on. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Carol Cuddy. I'm a film commissioner. And I bring to the commission my experience as a producer, production manager, location manager for many decades in the New York and New Jersey film community.
And Carol has worked with the top directors, Martin Scorsese, you name it. She's one of the top in the industry. She's being modest there, but she's a major deal.
Thank you, Tom. I'm Richard Stephen Bell. I'm the executive director of CinemaEd. We're a nonprofit that engages, educates, and empowers underserved filmmakers in New Jersey. And we've been in existence for about 10 years, and we focus mainly on high school students. But we're also working with communities now in Newark and in Essex County.
Great. Well, thank you all for taking the time to be with us today. So let's get started talking for our audience a little bit about the programs that are in place, that were put in place to help attract filmmaking to the state of New Jersey. So for those who don't know, it's a competitive landscape out there to get films to come shoot, TV productions to come shoot at any location. We're right next door to New York City as well. People are traveling around the world to find economic advantages for their productions. So I'm wondering if we could talk a little bit about sort of the ways in which New Jersey positioned itself in this landscape to be a competitive force in film and TV production. How are we attracting folks to New Jersey to begin productions here?
I'll just start a few things. Just New Jersey sold itself. New Jersey has every location you could want. It's got casinos, it's got beaches, it's got mountains, it's got about every decade going back to, 1300. So locations are a key factor in making movies. And New Jersey has put together a special computer system where if you're in California and you're talking about making a movie, you can say, I want a house from 1610 in the mountains. And you can type that in and you'll see all the houses New Jersey has, because they've been putting together a photo library over the last, 12, 13 years, which has that. And so even just for starters, there's that. And then the tax rebate program certainly is very healthy and competitive with everybody. Right now, let's say in LA, LA says, we'll match you, whatever state you are, if you come to LA, we'll match that deal. But people want to stay in New Jersey because the concierge service that's put together by the Film Commission to make everybody comfortable, the Film Ready program that they have, where every town has to pass a Film Ready test to be able to have the film come to it, is there. So coming here, Jersey's very prepared. And, I don't think most states are.
Yeah, and if you think about it, echoing Tom's great remarks, we were the birthplace of film. So it's all coming back full circle, and just in several years, we go from being number 8 in production, if I'm correct, to number 4. And speaking of the tax incentives, sometimes, people can balk at that, but it's very valuable because it's an enhanced proposition. 1, we're talking about our economy and its growth. 2, you're talking about jobs, the creation of which I believe last year there were about 30,000 plus crew members. And then 3, you want to ensure that there's going to be long-term infrastructure stability throughout not just 2025, but in perpetuity to further the name, if you will, of New Jersey. Tom, you are so on point in explaining out all of the different landscapes we have in New Jersey. And when you couple all of this, in 7 years, there's been, a $1.7 billion spend. And I think that, and I say this even outside of film, I think that our greatest strength here in New Jersey is our people. And now that we do have the workforce initiatives and programs, high school, college, and in other areas, we're bringing everyone into the fold, and then that great message gets out in the street.
Yeah, to just piggyback on top of what Acting Governor Way said, just driving here today, I drove through West Orange, and I drove right past Black Maria, Thomas Edison's first movie studio in the country. And people don't realize that New Jersey is really the birthplace of what's happening in the film industry. And what Tom said about locations, A Complete Unknown, which took place in New York City, was shot completely in Newark. If you want to shoot in New York City, come to Newark. If you want to shoot in Washington, D.C., come to Trenton. And what Acting Governor Way said, especially about access, for my organization and for other organizations and for the FilmWorks program, people are getting access. Everyone is getting access to the film industry and to be able to participate in filmmaking in New Jersey.
One thing just to note, if you want to participate in the tax rebate program, you have to hire people that live in New Jersey. If you hire somebody from New York, that person does not count towards your tax rebate situation. And so it's very much inclusive of building a film force in New Jersey.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is that we've tried to really make it as easy as possible for people to come to New Jersey and have a great experience filming here and then be really excited to come back. So the location library that we're talking about, the tax credits, the workforce development programs, I think we'll get into a little bit later. The support we have for towns and helping towns get familiar with what it means when a production is coming to their municipality and how to work well together. Trying to put all of that together and make it as easy for people to come here, but also for the businesses that are here today to grow with this industry, right? We want to make this as beneficial across the state as we can.
And I think, go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say, in addition to everything else that's been said, the one thing that when somebody, let's say they're out in LA deciding where to take a movie, many states now have tax incentives trying to draw those movies in. And so all these things we've mentioned, but there's another thing. We exist in New Jersey, in, let's say, the suburbs of New York, where there has been a growing film community since the beginning back to when Thomas Edison, and there was a lot of New York there too. So a huge percentage of all the unions and the Directors Guild and SAG live in New Jersey. So we already have a trained workforce. There's some of the other states that maybe is in competition for their looks. Let's say, if you want Oklahoma, you can get it in New Jersey. You know, it's that kind of, we can compete with all those looks, but we already have a huge crew base and actor base. That's massive, because you don't have the quality actors in many other states that we have right here. So those are add-ons in addition.
So I'm not going to speak for everyone in the audience, but I'll speak for myself. I'm extremely dumb about money and taxes and all that stuff. Like, I'm sure we all just like go to QuickBooks and like fill in the lines that they tell us to fill in. So I do want to talk about the tax incentives for a minute, and just at a top level explain. I have a $100 million movie. What does a tax incentive mean for me as a filmmaker when I'm shopping between multiple states and multiple locations? How does that actually function for my production? And then you also mentioned, Acting Governor, the net spend, which is on the other side of that, which is not related to taxes, but actually the money that we're putting into the community and into the state as part of that budget. So maybe someone could break down for us, or together we can discuss how those incentives actually work for a production.
I'll just throw one thing. Bricks and mortar, right there, that is the key to a great tax rebate program. There are studios being built all over the state. You saw the Netflix stuff that's going on. I know there's a major studio that is going to be in Bayonne hopefully shortly. There's several that are going to be built in Newark. That empowers, those are union workers. Those are people that are going to have jobs when those studios are open. There are people in the other lines of business that are going to be working to build those studios. There's people that are going to be buying the lumber, people that are going to be buying all the materials. They're going to buy them from the state of New Jersey. That alone is a major factor in the tax rebate program. So I'll just leave that aspect.
Yeah, so the tax credit works where you get a tax credit based on your qualified spend. So we actually just had new legislation passed in New Jersey and a recommitment to the tax credit program, if you will. We're working on the rules as we speak. If you public comment period open currently, so you can provide your input to make this an even better program than it's been working really well today. I think the acting governor alluded to the incredible spend, the investment that productions are putting into the state. Last year alone, over $800 million. So a real significant economic impact. That's really the tax credit is I would say kind of the anchor of the programs that we offer for the film industry here today. But as we talked about, it's a full package that's really incentivizing people to come here and be rewarded really for hiring local residents, for utilizing local businesses. And when we talk about local businesses, as Carol was saying, like, we really do have a whole infrastructure here already. There's 70 stages that are already existing. You have prop houses and set designers already here. And so if you're a production coming to town and you're utilizing that, that's, that you can get a tax credit for. The other piece of it also is, just connecting those local businesses. Again, I really want to reiterate, a big part of the strategy is not just about attracting, that's huge, right? But it is also about connecting the businesses that are here today. And we have programs to do that, directory of businesses to get connected to the productions that are coming to town.
And if I'm correct, it's 40%, right? And 45% of the tax credit if it's a diversity with a diversity bonus. Yeah,
and a big part of our economic development strategy in the state, right, is about accessibility and inclusivity, and so we do have that additional bonus for disadvantaged communities.
Yeah, and the way the math works out is if you spend a certain amount of money here, there's a certain amount of money that's going to come into the state that's more than you spend in terms of the bricks and mortar, in terms of Steven Spielberg rents out half of South Jersey to make his horror movie that just finished. You can go into any town and ask what the economic contribution is when a movie comes to that town in terms of paying the local fire department, paying the police department, renting buildings, renting hotels, food, parking. All of that money is spent in that town when the movie's there and stays to the town. And again, that kicks back into their tax rebate, but it's also giving more than you're getting back.
And another fact, see y'all, I'm a data girl, okay? So another fact is, you mentioned, Tom, the spend, right? A requirement, not saying it's the exclusive requirement of this program, is the 60% figure, right, of direct spend utilizing authorized New Jersey vendors, which is phenomenal because everyone is saying this, right? This is like an anchor, and the anchor has the tentacles out within the community, and we want to uplift and support our small business owners who too play a great role in the economic fabric of our state.
As somebody on the panel who is actually making films now in New Jersey, even though we're doing it on a smaller scale than Sony, I wanted to say that even though I don't understand tax incentives or how they work, when we have a producer, a line producer, who is doing a budget for us. She comes to us and she says, this is your budget, it's $600,000, but with New Jersey tax credits, it's $400,000. And to any filmmaker, to be able to look at their budget and to take $200,000, and that's a low budget film, right? To take $200,000 off your budget right away is an amazing thing. And it, not only because we're just New Jersey filmmakers, but filmmakers from out of state as well.
Well, it comes with a toll. And, if you're going to take that money off your budget, there's a lot that you have to do to qualify, in terms of union employees,
That's
in
right.
terms of where you're going to buy your lumber, where you're going to shoot, where you're going to rent your camera. So, there's a tit for tat on it, and it's great, but it's a very complex thing
Yes.
to be able to sort through.
Yes, and actually, the tit for tat is actually working for us. One of the films that we're making is actually about a drive down the Garden State Parkway. It's a horror film based on, horror film, right? Based on
Perfect setting.
Yeah, it is. It's called Exit Zero. It's based on, every exit has a horror story associated with it. But what we're doing is we're going to each town that we're going to shoot in and to work with them, to tell them that we want to shoot in your town, we want to work with you, what benefits can you give to us, what benefits can we give to you?
Well, you're going to pay them to work in their town.
Yes. Yeah.
And I also want to talk about, in relation to that, so, one of the things that everyone's brought up is sort of the workforce development aspect of this and making sure that we have not only a robust workforce here in New Jersey, but one that's reaching economically and targeting underserved communities and reaching people who can find opportunity that they may not have otherwise found in film production. I'm married to an IATSE member myself, and I know that that work is tough work and it's hard work and it requires a lot of training and professional development. So I'd love to hear about how we're providing that development here in the state of New Jersey and making sure that we're getting people in the state trained up and part of this growing infrastructure, because it's a boom time and there's a lot of opportunity there for people. So how are we maximizing that?
I'll throw you one thing. In middle of November, there's going to be a meeting between the Academy of Motion Pictures and the EDA. And what I've tried to bring together is that the Academy and the EDA will jointly make a film that covers every section of the Academy, sound, directing, stunts, whatever it is, and have them have an explanation of what it takes to be a person to get into that business. What is a PA supposed to do if he's going to work on the electrician part of a movie? What's a PA going to do if they're going to work for the assistant director? And then have that film available to every high school's work department where kids are going to graduate. This is an opportunity job, and be able to have that available around the state for the high schools, and also to have it just for anyone who wants to see it in the film department here at the state, and then be able to sign off and sort of say, I saw this movie, so and your name could go in a pool where people are coming to look for people to work on a film. They go, well, this person at least has taken this thing and they want to be in this department, so they have some knowledge.
Yeah, and I'm going to show it in our high school for sure. That's what Cinema Ed does, really. We go into high schools, and the students are actually, it's career technical education, CTE programs in New Jersey. I mean, you have culinary arts, you have STEM, but you also have filmmaking. And students are being trained to join the film industry, and especially our students. They work as PAs on professional films, and we're very excited for what New Jersey is starting to offer and how filmmaking is becoming central to the curriculum.
Yeah, I think that this is the most exciting part for me, right? And EDA, the commission has done phenomenal work in building up these programs. One I think of is for our college students with the Film Academy. I know recently there was the agreement between Brookdale Community College, which services, not only your regular college students, if you will, but there's the adult learners. There are those who are underserved, and that's what you want to do. Part and pride of being in this administration, Governor Murphy's administration, is recognizing that services, business, the economy should work for all. And that's exactly what everyone is trying to do here. And aside from that is the NJ FilmWorks program too, that has just got launched. Another best in practice program, which could be a national model, really drilling down on the apprenticeship of this all. Because not all of us come from a background of film and TV and have those question marks as to how should I go about being a part to apply into something and be successful, transition, and lead, in other words. So with the NJ FilmWorks, I know there's the program of Invest Newark. We're talking about, again, the production assistance. Then there is the one I really love, the Aspire Youth development, which will be in play in Lumberton, which of course, still focuses on the PAs, but there's camera operators, et cetera, so that, to your point, all of our kids can have a, lesson, if you will, or understanding and experience of how to get into a specific field instead of, once they graduate from high school. I have 4 kids, they go off to college and they're like, okay, now what do I do next? That sort of thing. They have that real ground experience.
Or they don't want to go to college and they want to go right to work.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I'm happy to give a little bit more detail about some of the programs that we've put in place. So we've really tried to take a portfolio approach, right? So recognizing that there's so many different occupations and career opportunities in the film and digital media industry, and so looking at...
We need accountants.
We need accountants, and actually that is part...
High school to accounting.
And that is actually the New Jersey Film Academy that was mentioned. So this is this partnership that's housed at Brookdale Community College, but it was really offered at multiple community colleges around the state. They're giving introductory classes in a number of film occupations, including production, accounting, and hair and makeup. And
It'll be back. Yep. Give it like 3 seconds. You didn't do anything wrong. That's okay. It's going to come right back for us. Sorry. 3, 2, 1. It's okay. How are we doing, Neil? Okay. Hi, we're back. Sorry, Jen, go ahead.
that's okay.
It's normal for us at the Montclair Film Festival to have explosive panel discussions like this one.
I'm the one who's not usually on set, so that one, that one took me back. So the New Jersey Film Academy is one of those, so giving introductory classes to a number of students. And we've offered, as part of our support for the New Jersey Film Academy, we provided funding for over 100 scholarships. for students, so really wanting to make sure that everybody has access to this type of training. We've also supported something really close in Montclair, Montclair State University. They're building an immersive classroom for virtual reality and really using that as an experiential learning opportunity, so for students to be able to not only learn sort of the back end, right, of how to produce that, but sort of the storytelling integration as well. And then the New Jersey Filmworks that was mentioned, so that was a competitive grant program. We put it out to, to a wide range of New Jersey training organizations and said, hey, these are all the different types of occupations we know we need here. Give us your proposals. It was a competitive grant program between $250,000, $750,000 grant awards, and we recently announced 5 of them. And then again, this really builds on what we already have here. So, Montclair Film offering great education programming, Cinema Ed offering great training programs for youth and adult learners. And so we're really trying to spread the opportunity and for people all across the state to have access to these and then really connect them, right? It's not just the training, you gotta connect them to the job opportunities and making sure that sort of the link between the training and the work opportunity is really close and making sure that people have that hands-on opportunity and networking as well.
Don't forget the Foley's studio at Montclair State. Foley's is where you see somebody walking through the snow and you hear the crunch, and it's usually a guy in a quiet room walking on nuts or something that makes the noise. They have a studio that teaches you how to do that at Montclair State College.
One of the things I was going to add, so all these programs, and they're just starting out, some of them are about to, these have just been awarded. And from that, you're going to have young people who haven't had the exposure to other people wanting to work on films or having that just camaraderie that happens when you're in a class like this. And that becomes their network, and they meet with each other in their classroom, and then they graduate or finish the programs, and they keep in touch with each other, and one of them gets a job on a film, and another one does this, and they stay in touch, and from that they grow their contacts, because getting into the film industry is really hard, and there's not a knock on this door and you'll get a PA job. It doesn't happen that easily. So that networking starts with all this simple basic training and grows in other ways.
Yeah, and the other thing, I just remiss to not actually talk about the unions as being part of the workforce ecosystem here. Obviously, such a large part of the union membership already living in New Jersey. As part of the film grant program that we did, we really tried to emphasize programs that had instructors that were working professionals, right? So you're not only getting the training and sort of the benefit of their career experience, but then that contact, right? I mean, like many industries, it's who you know. I don't think film is any different in that regard. And so, you already know your instructor and they're already working in the field, and how can you use that to sort of leverage for your next career opportunity?
Carol, would you tell people how, and it's an apprenticeship program in getting into the movies and getting up in the top, you've been through the bottom to the top, and people start out as a hand in, telling guys you can't walk there, and then...
Well, those are production assistants, and there are very few apprenticeship programs at this point, and that's why what we're doing here in New Jersey is kind of setting up our own apprenticeship, saying, let's say you have a gaffer who's been worked on dozens of movies or TV shows, comes and teaches the electric, this is how you wrap cable, this is how you do this. That's an apprenticeship now. The sets are limited in the number of apprenticeships that they have.
Well, it's basic apprenticeship. Like, I'm on the set and I'm working with the electricians, and I want to decide I want to be an electrician. How long does that take?
Well, you can't work with the electricians unless you're in the union.
Okay, well, a PA
you can
for the...
observe them
Yeah.
and find out, and then you can talk to them. And if you get some training, and then you take the tests at Local 52 in terms of electricians. So it's challenging, because how are you going to get the experience? A lot of people go and work on non-union films, and they learn things, or they take a course like what we're about to have here, and they get those skills. So when they take that test, they get in. It's that kind of thing. That's why it's not easy.
Yeah, it's hard to get into the union.
And then you have to work a certain number of days to be able to actually take the test, right? If you're on a film, it's like...
That's another way, but yeah, certain
I wanted to ask Tom a question. What union is your
She's IATSE, she's wardrobe.
Wardrobe?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So she's dresses me as well, and I
Yeah.
clearly need to have a conversation with her later this evening about being underdressed for this panel.
Like, I mean, the unions are 652.
I live in Brooklyn.
Oh, you live in Brooklyn? Okay.
Yeah.
So, Cinema Ed, we talked with the Hair and Makeup Union, 798, who actually are doing workshops. Last summer they did with Real Works, who was one of the awardees, to train hair and makeup people in New Jersey who want to get into the film industry. So that's one way, and it's hard to get into the unions. I've talked to the union president, and it's not easy.
Well, yeah, they have to like you. Like, I'll give an example. My brother, Paul Bernard, he produces that show, Night Agent, and his first job was working on a movie called State of Grace in New York, and every morning he had to wake Sean Penn up and drag him to the set every morning as a PA. And he decided he wanted to be a line producer. And his next step to be able to do that, he got to be an assistant director, and then a first AD, and then he worked on major movies, first AD. All these are different things. You had to work a certain number of days to be able to move up to the next level when you took your test. And so when I talk about apprenticeship, it's really once you get into the movies and you say you're not trying to be the director, but there's so many great jobs, and they all pay well, and they're all really rewarding. It's interesting. You have to really study. This is like almost joining a union where you're going to be an iron worker. First you start out, you get to be the apprentice, you get to this, you get to that, and you eventually, there is at the end of the rainbow, if people like you and you continue to work and continue to find a group of people like Claire talks about, it's that's like learning how to be a PA to be able to get in the door, to be able to get where you want to go is a really key factor.
Yeah, Jen, you guys have invested a lot in institutions in the state for that purpose. So if I'm an individual in the audience or I'm watching this later online or as a video, how can folks plug into those institutions as individuals, and is that sort of the recommended path that we're suggesting for folks to get started if you're interested?
Yeah, I think we've talked about a number of different programs that exist already, and then ones that we're adding to the mix. So the New Jersey Film Academy is one, and I mentioned that just because it's, they do have offerings all over the state, so depending on where you live, you'd likely be able to find a course really close to you. So that's one opportunity. And then I think a lot of it is just, these exposure opportunities that we're trying to offer. So maybe they're short classes, taking class at Montclair Film or Cinema Ed, and working with our vocational schools and our community colleges to showcase what the opportunity is. The training programs that we just awarded, these 5, they're brand new. We haven't even executed grant agreements yet, right? We've just made these announcements very recently. So those will be on offer very soon. You'll be able to go to our website and find out more information about them. But there's lots of opportunity, lots of programs already in New Jersey. So if this is something that you're interested in, it's easy to find out where the training programs are. Come to our website, lots of information there.
So that's one way for us to expand economic opportunity. And another way that we've spoken about a little bit earlier that I'd like to touch a little bit more on is if I'm a business owner in a community where filmmaking's happening. I have a film-ready town. I'm running a restaurant, catering business, a lumber yard, things of that nature. So if I'm a business owner and I want to participate in this growth and development as well, what's a formal process for me to get involved? And sort of maybe you guys can talk about the impacts that are happening for these businesses, because it's been tremendous here. We see in Montclair people coming in all the time and using local businesses, our partners, sponsors. We're referring people to other people as well as Montclair Film, because we have film in our name, so they call us and they say, hey, we're coming to make a movie, and we're like, okay, great. We have a great team who like takes those calls and sort of directs them around. But there's a lot of opportunity there for business owners as well.
Right. I would say first thing in the Film Commission site, you can list your company so that if a film is coming into a town and they say, oh, I wonder if there are dry cleaners there, or it doesn't have to be something you would think of, just small businesses, a flower shop. They need to put flowers in the dressing rooms for the actors. So those kind of variable, list them within the New Jersey Film Commission site. And the impact on a town is obvious when you see all the trucks and cars that come into a town for film shooting. All those people aren't just, there's a caterer, let's say, who's come in with the company. People go out to lunch on their own, they go get coffees on their own, and those kinds of things. The spend is big that isn't part of the budget. It's out of the pocket of the crew and cast.
And they get per diems to spend, right?
Yeah.
And I believe that that site is NJ411, is that correct?
Yeah.
For the audience members?
Yep, it's you can go to nj.gov/NJFilm. You can find the 411 program. There's over 4,500 businesses that are already listed on there. And so, as Carol was saying, the caterers, dry cleaners, you name it, because you need so much for a production shoot, and we want to be able to connect the productions to the local businesses. Two sort of examples. I think that I love both of these, just to give sort of the color of what the economic impact means for a town. So Steven Spielberg shot a film here last year in Cape May. The shoot had 350 crew members staying in 8 different hotels, averaging $285 a night. The crew members end their day, they get their per diem, and they go out and spend that money in the local restaurants. This was also shot in the off-season in Cape May, when the cash flows of those businesses might be tighter than in other seasons. That's a huge economic impact to those local businesses, those hotels, those restaurants in Cape May. Another one that I love was there's a production shoot that was shooting a parade scene, and they needed a whole bunch of balloons, and they went to a local store that sold balloons, and it was $19,000 in balloons. That's amazing for that business owner, right? I mean, that's a huge sale. So it's a real tangible impact of what you see all the trucks and stuff coming in and the lights, and it's all very exciting, but this is real money in people's pockets and local businesses here. And then maybe it's not the same type of economic development, but certainly valuable. You had Adam Sandler in Montclair shooting here, and I think there's lots of kids that took selfies with him on the basketball court here in Montclair. That was a huge value. So maybe not same economic development, but certainly priceless for our Montclair town.
I think he paid $300,000 to shoot the opening scene at Beacon Hill Country Club in Atlantic Islands.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge impact.
Well, I have to say, though, that Adam Sandler lived in South Orange when he was shooting the movie, so we have to say that he brought that economic engine to us. But I don't mean to try and one-up you.
No,
Happy Gilmore,
Happy
Gilmore 2 was a boon to New Jersey. But just driving around Maplewood and South Orange, which is where I live, this past summer, all I saw were set parking this way, set parking this way. And the people in town love it. And I have to say that when we shot a short film that we had to shoot overnight a year ago, we were having trouble finding a caterer who would serve lunch at midnight, because that was what the crew, the union, and rules were. And there was a local pizza owner. Everybody else, a lot of people were like, "Oh, we close. We're closed by then." He was like, "Oh no, we'll stay open." And he stayed open. Had his own people stay on, and he delivered the food himself. So there are business owners that want to participate, and I think giving them the chance is what's really important in New Jersey.
And do we know the total impact of those programs on the economy here in New Jersey, sort of combining everything together? You mentioned, I heard a $1.7 billion earlier, but maybe we can discuss what that looks like financially for the state. Do we know about that in terms of the number?
I don't have the exact number, sort of the larger economic impact multiplier effect, but we're talking about over $800 million in spend just last year alone, which is absolutely huge, and that's an increase from the year before, an increase from the year before that. I think we're showing our investment, our commitment to this industry, and so we're hopeful that will continue to grow.
Yeah, and I think that you have to look at this holistically too. Again, not just the economic spend, we're also talking about the creation of jobs, right? Which is ultimately, you know, one of the goals. You want to be part of that economic pie. And I believe, you know, just mentioning the creation of 33,000 jobs last year, I know that as I'm also y'all's Secretary of State and I oversee the Council on the Arts. And you know, similar to film, it's a creative economy. When you look at how the arts supports 25,000 plus jobs per year, and what that means and entails is significant and important. So the $1.8 billion spend is fine, but the job creation, and this is going to go on for years with Netflix, with Lionsgate, and all the other great production companies within New Jersey, making us again that epicenter.
That's fantastic. So I want to pivot a little bit.
All the taxes go into the state for
That's
those
of course.
jobs.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to pivot a little bit and talk a little bit about something that we understand sort of intimately here at Montclair Film, which is when people come to the film festival, I always tell our team they're coming from out of town, they've gone to 50 other film festivals, every festival has its bespoke rules for badges and tickets and lines and where I'm supposed to go and where I'm supposed to be. Standardizing the way that people who are coming into New Jersey to make films and creating standards for them to connect with communities here in New Jersey has been incredibly important in helping develop the program as well, and that is the Film Ready program. And I'd love to talk a little bit about, especially for the producers out there who are watching, the services that the state provides for producers, people coming in, location scouts, et cetera, to standardize how they interact with communities here in New Jersey and figure out their plan for making a film here. I think it's really great that there's this set of standards that are being developed.
The thing about New Jersey has 564 municipalities. So when you think that's 564 different sets of rules that different towns have. So the idea with Film Ready came from we've got to have one standard. If you could have this standard, then producers would know these towns who are film ready all abide by these, I'll say rules, but they are rules, they're standards. And so that makes it much easier to consider a town knowing you're not going to be up against obstacles. There are towns who are learning, I believe, the hard way, that yeah, you can charge somebody $10,000 to enter the town, and you can charge them $15,000 to park in the lots, and you can charge them for every fire and every police officer that has to be involved, or you can come to a different number and do it the way the Film Commission and Film Ready program lays out. And ultimately producers, productions come back to those towns. And that's what makes the difference for wanting to go back.
Yeah, it's a certification program, and to Carol's point, you know one town, you know one town, you know one county, you know one county. I was a local elected, and it's important to understand an outside business which you may not be familiar with, so that when they do come, it can be successful. And in the certification program, if I'm correct, you know, it's 1 day of training. There's commissioners, there's mayors, experts in the field who will train a town in how to become film ready. They speak about all of the police and fire protocols, which is also significant and important to filmmaking. And I believe we have about 46 of our localities who are film ready, but there are approximately 50 that are still in the hopper to get film ready. And just the perception of it all on the street, you hear good things about it, and then that also goes to the producers, et cetera, and they would be more welcoming, right, to come into New Jersey, into various localities, as what has been said, because they know that it is professionalized, that there are specific requirements and standards that have to be met, and it would be more seamless, right, if you are a film-ready locality. So we always welcome those who would want to apply. I know that there is going to be a training if any of you or others out there are going to attend the League of Municipalities Conference in Atlantic City. I believe the date is Tuesday, November 18th.
Yeah, you know, and it's like in the beginning when we started trying to figure this out, somebody was in charge of just all the Mayor's Association, and she got them together to say, we want to try and get something that's orderly, be able to come to your town. Because back when Jersey Shore was running around here and everybody said it was a disaster, those towns down in Seaside made a fortune just paying, with the municipalities closing the road, paying the police, all the restaurants. And so same thing here is being able to go and make sure the fire department knows what to do, make sure the police department knows what to do if there's an incident, or how many officers you need on set if it's going to be this. And so all of those things, if you're somebody in LA, and I talk to a lot of producers, they want to go where that's organized. They don't want to have to deal with trying to educate the town. We're coming, and we're going to have a little class for everybody, and this is how we'd like it to go. So this is an innovative thing, and Jersey's the first state to do that. So it's very exciting, and I think it's starting, people around the country are starting to try and do this.
And I think what's really great about this program too is that we have towns all across the state participating. So, at the beginning of the conversation, we were talking about all the different locations that, environments that you can shoot in New Jersey, and it could look like somewhere else. Well, you need a whole bunch of different towns, right? If you're going to be, shooting a city scene and a rural scene and a seaside scene. So, having all these towns across the state participate, and especially ones that maybe, are newer to the film industry, right? And so we want to make sure that exposure to towns, all our wonderful towns in the state, are able to participate and benefit from this industry. So it's a really great program. We've seen a lot of positive reception to it, more and more towns participating all the time, and we're really looking forward to it continuing to grow, and showcasing New Jersey, across the state is really open for business for the film industry.
And if I have a location that I'm excited about, a location owner, how can I feature it, showcase it, so that when people are looking and trying to make a decision about shooting here, they can see what I have to offer?
Put it in the computer.
Yes.
That's the place.
No, right.
Not many states have this particular system, so this is like a major system. And
There's a database.
Yeah.
One of the components in qualifying to be film ready is that you send, was it 8 different photo locations, and we don't just show the beautiful building there, we want to see 360, so a director can look and say, that's a beautiful library, but across the street is the garbage dump, or whatever it is that doesn't work. So those photos, when they're film ready, are on there as qualifying. You can also have photos on the site as well. There are instructions there about that.
Yeah, one of the things before we had a film commission, when there was the dark ages, the film commission was there. They had a few people in there, so the mission was everybody just went out and shot photos all over the state every day, and figured someday there'd be hope. So they've got a lot of photos.
Yeah, the location library, this database, is a really impressive resource. There's tens of thousands of images, and you can really find whatever you're looking for. And again, I think this just demonstrates that we're just trying to make it as easy as possible, and sort of this package of resources available for productions to come to the state. Find what you're looking for, spend in the state, support our businesses, hire our people. It's a really great place to do film work here.
So here in Montclair, I think there's a 5-year war about gas-powered leaf blowers being used on lawns, and I don't even want to mention production trucks idling all day in locations. And I know there's been a big effort to make film production more sustainable and less environmentally impactful in those negative ways. So can we talk a little bit about maybe the programs that are in place for communities to know that they're getting a clean and sustainable program coming into their community when they decide they want to allow film production?
Well, there are certain things that productions have finally gotten it together. I mean, it started when New York City made it against the law. I think more than 90 seconds you can't idle in New York. So there's that. I used to go around I'd see a Teamster or somebody idling, and I like this, turn it off like that. But now it's become standard for that. We still have the generators that blow the smoke up and that kind of stuff, and that's still there. A lot more of the vehicles are going electric with the solar panels on the trailers. So that's all happening. There are other things as far as at the end of a show, the recycling of set pieces or furniture, wardrobe, that there are a number of charities who have listed and said, we want to be a part of this. Call us. We say this to the productions. Here are the charities. Call them if you have these things at the end that you want to give away. And it's kind of a mutual, because the productions at the end, it's over. Get this stuff out of here. We're done. Finish it. So it kind of works both ways. And there's another thing, is there's a lot of food on a set, or the caterer at the end of a meal, there's a big plate of broccoli or something like that. A lot of them put the foil on it and drop it off at the local food bank or the shelter or someplace that somebody who can use it. So those kinds of things are really important, and they're part of the production process.
And overall, creating this environment, and now we've seen the rapid growth, 100% plus growth in film production in New Jersey. It sort of all adds up to an expansion of the industry overall. What steps are we taking to ensure sort of the long, so, the tax, we know Tom mentioned there was a governor who didn't like this, didn't want tax incentives. We have a political climate.
He might have been upset or made a deal with somebody in New York that said, you do this, I'll do that, but I don't know if that happened.
So one of the things I think that is really exciting about this program is that it's got a long-term future here in New Jersey outside of the political landscape of who's in charge of what. So can we talk a little bit about sort of the overall sustainability economically of the program, and what's the timeline for these incentives if we want to put together a film program?
So as I mentioned before, the film legislation was just revamped and so put in place for years to come, these tax credits to be available for productions. These workforce programs that we're supporting, these are multi-year efforts, and I think the real demonstration is just the positive impact to the state, right? And that is the way just to continue to build on it, to showcase what it means for a town, what it means for a local resident, what it means for someone who's in middle school right now, and to see, to go to to go to one of your classes or one of your classes and meet someone who's in film and say, oh yeah, that's something I want to do, or I'm really interested in hair and makeup, but I really like the movies, and this is an opportunity for me. So I think the more that we can showcase this and get it in front of people, the more you show that tangible economic impact. Not only sort of at the state level, but in a household level, that really makes a difference. And so New Jersey has really planted a flag and said the film industry is a great industry for our state, and we see that continuing because it's proven already how beneficial it's been.
Well, what you're seeing is as these new studios are starting to get built, nobody's giving a guy a loan if the thing's going to be gone in 4 years. So when the banks decide that we can build a new studio, we're going to finance it, and it's going to be here for a long term, that is the signal that things are set here in New Jersey, because that was always, we didn't have a lot of structure in the beginning, but there's a lot more structure now and a lot more structure coming. And I think that's because of the security of the program.
Yeah, just echoing the 2 points. The tax credits, right, is about 10 years, right? So it's codified into law. Thank you, Governor Murphy. Also, what Tom is just saying, the long-term infrastructure that has been put into place, the brick and the mortar. We're going to have Netflix and Mama. If you're going to have Lionsgate in Newark, right? And all of these other production companies, they are long-term too. And all of the programs that are now getting propped up or already in the works. Our friend down here, you have the high schoolers, if you will. So you think about this infrastructure, this great film entity, if you will, that we have going on in New Jersey, and it would just be, difficult, right, for anybody to just turn the page like other governors did. It's already embedded in, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, and now that, say, a studio like Lionsgate, brick and mortar, is going into the South Ward of Newark, we have community, Clinton Hill Community Action, which is a community organization in Clinton Hill and the South Ward, wanting to up their film program and also to get the Newark School District involved with these long-term projects. So it's really just the beginning. I met with Roger Leon, who's the superintendent of Newark Schools, and Malcolm X Shabazz High School is doing a new technical studio, and they're going to focus on film because of the studio, Lionsgate studio, that's going to be built. So it's a driving force not only in the economy, but in the education of students.
But another fine point is, I also oversee travel and tourism. And I know travel and tourism has supported this great festival. But what I want to say is, once these studios really get primed up, then we have our out-of-state visitors who, too, will come and take tours just like we do when we go to other states, wanting just to see all of these cultural, if you will, and creative assets. And travel and tourism, if you think about it, would be really burgeoning even more. It's about an $80 billion economic impact. So this would add to that annually.
Well, the image of New Jersey has always been The Sopranos, when it comes to film. It's like enough. Now, all the movies about New Jersey were usually made somewhere else. Now you're starting to see the state in film, and you're seeing it around the country, and you're seeing Made in New Jersey on the film. I think it's changing the perception of the state, which has the most diverse landscape, I think, anywhere. You got the South Jersey forest, you got the mountains of North Jersey, you got the casinos, but either way, it's really changed. Lavender Farm, yeah.
Carol, I wanted to point out that we keep referring to the film industry, and yes, these stages are going up, and those are like factories in a way, but also every day when those movies and TV shows are out on location, it's like we're portable factories all around, and they're dozens and dozens of factories every day now all over the state of New Jersey, and that's where that money, those small factories, are dropping money into the economies.
And I wanted to thank Carol and the New Jersey Film Commission for being so open to filmmakers calling you and asking for advice. I know that we have done so, and it's not hard to get a hold of someone there to get as a filmmaker, to get advice and input from the commission.
So that's a really good transition to sort of my final question, which is a lot of our audience are not Steven Spielberg, who are here today and who may be watching this, but are younger independent filmmakers maybe who are trying to make their first or second feature and are excited about shooting here in New Jersey. What first steps should a young filmmaker take to connect with this system? Because it can be overwhelming. It seems like a lot. We're talking about tax incentives and putting together these budgets, and maybe I just want to run and gun and go shoot a movie on the beach with my friends. Obviously, I'm not going to do that, but the point being, it's an independent, it's a smaller production. How can our emerging artists plug into this system and benefit from it and help grow film in New Jersey?
Okay, good question. The emerging artists that I work with, they, for one thing, iPhones are instant storytellers in your pocket now. So our young filmmakers now have been telling stories since a very young age on TikTok, on Instagram, or whatever.
So at the Atlantic Highlands 1 Minute Film Festival.
Yes, a 1 Minute Film Festival. We do a 24-hour boot camp where the students are challenged to make a film in 24 hours. But to do that, students, a young filmmaker, first of all, needs to get involved in school, in filmmaking. And if they can't, there are lots of community colleges, like the New Jersey Film Academy is associated with community colleges. You need to get information from people who've done it before. And actually, another way to do it, if you're a filmmaker and you want to get involved, is to actually go on Craigslist. I've met people like this, and look up people advertise for PAs, especially on non-union films on Craigslist. And I've met PA. How did you get this job? Oh, I found it on Craigslist. People are always looking for people, and if you're willing to work, first of all, for low wages or for free, that's the best way to get your experience and to get involved.
Well, the thing is, the Film Commission has a lot of available stuff on their website, and that's probably your first stop to see what information can I gather that the Film Commission has, and there are people there that you can contact if you've got a organized question that goes to a particular point.
Carol, sorry.
Especially with the tax incentive, it seems intimidating and yet so important for a filmmaker if they're going to get a break on their film. And that information, financial information, is available and resources, again, going to the commission site, that will lead that person, because every production has to have an accountant. They have to have a schedule. They have to have a budget if they're going to shoot. So that's where you go.
And what's important, Carol just said it, the independent filmmakers can actually take advantage of the tax incentives. So by going on the website, you think about, we spoke about Happy Gilmore 2, that multi-million-dollar production, but then you think about The Terrifier 2, right, which was only $250,000, independent film, which reaped $15 million in the box office, if you will. So, everyone should feel as though everyone is accessible here. I want to just shout out EDA and, of course, all of the commission staff, John Crowley all down, because they're doing such phenomenal work.
And you all are, actually. You guys are central and crucial to all the work that we do here in New Jersey to keep filmmaking alive and continuing to grow. And Montclair Film will always be here as a partner to you, as an education institution, but also an exhibitor to show that work and make sure the festival has a chance to highlight it as well. We want to be a part of that life cycle.
You're very key to what's going on in the arts.
Thanks,
state.
Tom. I appreciate that. We're honored to have you guys with us today. We want to thank our friends at the NJEDA, and I want to thank you, Acting Governor, for joining us today. All of our panelists, thank you guys so much for being here today.
Thank you.
And thank you to all of you. We are in the home stretch, day 9 of our 10-day festival. We look forward to seeing you at the rest of the Montclair Film Festival. Please enjoy, and thank you again for your support.